Carnival Cruise Lines. The pandemic will never end, with over 2,000 passengers affected by the Rona on Carnival Spirit. Can cruise lines get ahead? Are they out of business? Carnival Cruise Line. One positive, they got to 2 million passengers since they reopened this year or early last year. So good stuff from Carnival Cruises. Now that's all the damage done. Can Carnival Cruise Lines get back up and skyrocketing with more and more customers joining on their cruise ship? Or will they continue to struggle as the Rona just will not go away? But the positive, the world is starting to open back up, and by the end of the year, just about everywhere in the world, apart from obviously Russia, you'll be able to fly away and get on those cruise ships you love. Anyway, let's get to it here at Barry Charles. Remember to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button because you are the greatest. And let's get to Carnival Cruise Lines. Let's analyze this stock. Let's look at a little bit of the history and check out all the revenue and all the good stuff about Carnival and see if you, the investor, should invest or should you just walk away and maybe just leave the boat on a deserted island and forget about it forever. Just kidding, folks. Anyway, let's go. Carnival Cruise or Carnival Cruise Lines. What is it? Well, clearly it's all about the cruise ship where people go to enjoy time on a holiday. Normally at a beautiful little island out on the side of many different countries. Sometimes you can just travel around countries like Australia, New Zealand, ports of America, all around Europe and go dive around the sides of Europe and the Caribbean. In a lot of places you can cruise. A Carnival Cruise Lines. What's been happening with this company? Obviously, since the Rona, it's been in disaster zone. Losing money after money after money. The cash burns into the billion. They're still afloat, which is positive. Being one of the biggest cruise lines in the world, Carnival Cruise. But this is a stock that I used to be in, but I sold out. And did I sell out? Why did I sell out? Well, that's a very good question. I just didn't see the long-term potential, and I saw an opportunity to go somewhere else, invest more heavily there. That's why I sold out, basically. Normally I'm a pick and stick kind of individual, but I just saw that with the Carnival Cruise Lines, I might be waiting quite a long time for my investment to return, and I just didn't see a big enough upside in Carnival Cruises to continue to invest in that stock, and I went somewhere else where I saw a bigger chance of increase. So that's why I left Carnival Cruise Lines personally. But that doesn't mean it's not a good stock. I think it's still a good price. Obviously, if you got it at $7, that's where you had to be. That's absolutely where you had to be. I was more at about the $14, $15 range average at the time. Obviously, I sold at just probably a little bit of profit. But to be honest, the cruise lines, to me, they're a good price, but they need to be a lot lower for me to invest big time. But I can see Carnival Cruise easily going back to $30, no problem. But how long do you have to wait for that? 5 years maybe? And that's just to double your money. It's probably not the biggest investment out there at the moment for you. If you're looking for, as you know, the cruise lines don't really, well, if you might not know, but normally it's just a slow and steady ride, a nice safe company, and normally you don't see much of a big trough after a while. Obviously there have been big dips in a lot of stocks, but again, it's been pretty consistent for a while. It did jump up to about over $20 at one point, but then quickly dropped right back down, nowhere near to 2020 levels. But obviously it's not a bad price. Wouldn't say amazing price, but it's definitely something to look at. But anyway, Carnival Cruise Line. What about the people that work for Carnival Cruise Lines? Well, there is a lot that goes into a cruise ship. There's no doubt about it. You have all the people right down the bottom, the maintenance people, they're looking after the ship. Whereas the mechanical side, you got doors and stuff. If anything happens with the doors, you got to fix them. All the little cabinetry stuff. There's all little nuts and bolts everywhere that sometimes the maintenance people have to do. Obviously cleaning the decks and all that. You got the cleaners, obviously cleaning the rooms all over. Yeah, the windows, a lot of stuff that's done at night time when people are asleep too, which people quite not know about. Obviously got the entertainment crew, and that's a big job, having to entertain people and doing all the emceeing and all that stuff. And you obviously got all the chefs and the kitchen hands and the waitresses and waiters all doing their job as well. You got the head chef, and then you have the head matinee and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of the entertainment crew do the bingo nights and scavenger hunts and all that sort of stuff. You got the casino staff. It's a big operation. Obviously you got the cruise ship. You're gonna need someone to steer the ship, so you got that big crew up there as well. It's a big company, and then you go all the way up to the CEOs and that as well, obviously all above them, and you're talking about a lot of ships too. But anyway, what the hell happened with the cruise Spirit? Carnival Spirit, 200 people pretty much getting the Rona. There was not a good thing to happen on a cruise ship. But unfortunately, it's inevitable at the moment because it's just too much contact. And to be honest, if you're coughing at the dinner table in an enclosed space, it's the problem. Whether there's maybe better protocols in place that maybe Carnival Cruise Lines can look at when that happens, it's probably pretty hard to predict. You pretty much got to tell the customer you stay in your room for the rest of your trip. Well, is that what you got to do? I don't know if that was happening. It probably was happening, to be fair, folks. Again, if you don't find out for a few days, you've spread it around coughing with your mates and friends, and then they interact with others, and it's just chaos. If it's like dancing, that is just a big problem, you know. Just the spread can be just instant, boom. So that's obviously an issue they're going to have to continue to work with. But over time, let's just hope it turns like sort of like a flu sort of thing, that we can just go back to some sort of normality. Whether that's ever going to be the case, I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, back to the stock. Carnival Cruise. What does the future hold? Where is the growth for this company to skyrocket all the way up to the moon? Well, the biggest thing with Carnival Cruise is it's such a big company already. How do they just go boom, boom, boom? How even trying to get a 10% improvement in ships, like getting 10% more ships, is a big thing. It's a real big thing. So for instance here, Carnival Cruise Lines has about 23 ships currently. So let's just say they need at least 2 big boats. To make just 2 cruise line ships, you're looking at over $1 billion. $1 billion. And I just want to show you how much that is. Let's have a look at the cash flow statement of Carnival Cruise. Okay, looking at the cash flow, roughly currently they have about $7 billion. So they could afford that. So that's not a bad thing. They could possibly afford it. But this is the biggest issue. The biggest issue of all. Long-term liabilities of $47 billion. And you want to buy another ship for $1 billion? Which, okay, yes, it'll be good for the intellectual property, but oh my goodness. The maintenance on that for a start, and to make $1 billion. To make $1 billion. Look at, just to make $1 billion. Let's have a look at Carnival Cruise Lines revenue here. Now in 2019, they had $20 billion. Now $20 billion in revenue, okay? $20 billion. And their long-term debt is 49. Oh my goodness. And look what happened at the Rona. Rona crashed $5 billion in 2020 and then $1 billion in revenue in 2021. Where did they get the $1 billion in revenue from? Pretty much people booking in cruise lines for the year or so into the future. And now they're looking at about $3 billion for the year coming this year. $3 billion. So at the moment, the revenue is just absolutely no good. And long-term liabilities is a big issue, but don't forget, this is not just Carnival Cruise Lines. This is all cruise lines. They are always high debt because obviously they can't afford to just pay $1 billion for 2 ships. It's just not that easy. If you take that out of their cash flow, they haven't got much cash flow left because there's a lot of big operations. So that is the big thing with cruise lines. That's why you won't see it flying to the moon. Absolutely. Although very profitable business when they're flying. As you see in the net income, I'll show you why that is here. Yeah, so 2019, just before all the Rona happened, they were at pretty much $3 billion in terms of net income. But then look at the cash burn now, folks. $10 billion, $9 billion. And this is losses in 2020 and 21 and expected to be pretty big again in 2022. Now, that is very disastrous for an investor. But the tide is turning and going into 2023. Profitability, will it return? Be a question mark if it fully returns to profit. But I think in the year after that, they'll be back to profit. So you will see the stock go up. So depending on where the stock price is when this video comes out, but I expect the stock can easily go to $25, $30. No problem. Absolutely pretty much no risk in 5 years time. But a lot of people are looking for a quick rich scheme, which is okay. But you got to remember, you got to pay the short-term tax on these stocks if you keep buying in and out. So that's okay. You got to make a decent profit for it to be worth it, because when the tax man comes for you, that's the danger. So the market cap is around 15 billion at the moment. It's obviously not a super duper big company, but 15 billion. One thing about Carnival Cruise Lines is one big reason they crashed is because the dividend disappeared and is yet to return. Now, if that come back up, then you'll see the stock start creeping up again, because it was a good dividend yield at one point for Carnival Cruise Lines. So that's been why the big losses in Carnival Cruises. At the moment, the PE ratio is nil because they're not making any money, but it's always been a low stock. So the cash burn has been bad for this company for a couple of years, but obviously now it's starting to improve. Going into 2023, it should be a lot of improvement. So if you want to invest into Carnival Cruise, to me, today's prices aren't too bad depending on where they are, but anything under $10 to me is a pretty safe bet. If you're just looking long term and hope the dividend returns in a few years' time, then no problem. That would be a good investment. But to me, I just don't see a big enough growth. My honest opinion. They're not going to make, say to double their business to 46 ship. 46 shift. Just think about it for a minute there, folks. They will need $12.65 billion. I'm talking about $1 billion just to double their business. That is how much they need. And is there enough places around the world to have all these cruise lines? And the fact that they're going to pay that, and what were they getting? About like losing money at the moment, and at their best I think was about $3 billion, right? About $3 billion they were making. So to make that money back each year, it's going to take, and that's real positive, and that could be, so you're looking about 10 years, even longer, to get their money back, plus the maintenance on top of that. That is the question why you won't see Carnival Cruise go to 100, 200. It'll be a miracle for it to go to anywhere near that, unless there's some sort of meme, let's go cruise ships, which could be a possibility, but like GameStop, but I don't know if that's going to hold as much these days, because I think people are getting a bit more used to it. There's a lot of people shorting the stock at the moment, which is interesting, so people are expecting it to go lower and lower. But for me, Carnival Cruise Lines, it's a pretty solid company, nothing over the top. Pretty much any cruise line, not all of them, but obviously the big players, Norwegian and Royal Caribbean, are all similar. Not financial advice. All these videos are for educational and entertainment purposes only. But out of the main stocks here, Royal Caribbean seems to always be the premium stock. I don't know why, but for some reason people just seem to have that stock as the premium stock in the sector. Probably because maybe they see a bit more growth in it, because Carnival Cruise Line is a bigger company, obviously. So that's something to think about. You might get more growth out of Royal Caribbean in terms of price range. But to me, Carnival Cruise Lines is a pretty solid investment. And I think that the whirlwind is just about gone, and they're still here. So they haven't crashed and burned as some people were worried about, completely going to zero. So it might be a company you would like to invest in, or maybe not. But anyway, I better sail off into the 7 Seas, or better watch out for Jack Sparrow, or maybe some pirates might be after me, because I'm on this cruise ship. I'm actually stuck on a cruise ship at the moment. Didn't realise, and this is just some sort of, maybe see my background there, we're just going through a hole on the rock at the moment. So you just subscribe to the channel. Just make sure you support me so I survive out of the 7 Seas, and smash the like button, because I love to do more videos about cruise lines and all the other stocks around there. Anyway, it's time for me to go before the great white shark or something comes and gets it. Anyway, check out my other videos. Love to you all. Peace out. Take care.